Hello, Daryl here from Brave Security. Today I'd like to answer a few questions that we're constantly getting at the moment about VMSs. What is a VMS? Why should I throw my perfectly good NVR away and invest in an NVS? If we're putting a new system in, why should we use a VMS? What's wrong with a cheap NVR? So today it's about answering a few of those questions. The first one is, what's the main advantage of an NVR? And that's clearly the price. They're quite cheap, really, compared to anything else that's on the market. So what are the downsides? Some of the downsides we have with an NVR is they're limited by bandwidth. Usually, it could be 80 megabits per second or 320 megabits per second. And so if I've got a 16 channel NVR, for example, I could connect maybe 16 1 megapixel cameras, but I couldn't connect 16 8 megapixel or 16 12 megapixel cameras. It's just too much incoming data coming into the recorder for the recorder to cope with it. And what we find often happens is we have cameras dropping offline, and you'll call me and say, Daryl, the 16 camera system we've got in, only 12 of the cameras are working. And we'll usually say, well, reboot it and they should come back. And so you reboot it and beauty, it's working again. But 2 or 3 days later, you'll find more cameras drop in and out. It's just NVRs are cheap and they just can't handle. If we put too many big cameras, that's why when we're designing a system, we'll often not use the big cameras. We'll stick to 4 or 2 megapixel cameras. NVRs also are limited by hard drive space. They come with 2 bays, 4 bays, 8 bays, however many holes they've got in the recorder to put a physical hard drive, that's how many you can have. After that, you're sort of stuck. They're also limited by the number of channels. So a 4-channel recorder, you can only put 4 cameras on. You have to throw that away and buy an 8-channel recorder if you want to add one, or etc. The other big thing, which I find is a big plus for the VMSs, is the software outdates. So every day we're getting new features and more fancy things in our industry. But if you buy an NVR, that's what you got. 5 years' time, you probably need to throw it away and buy another one. With a VMS, once you buy your license, you get free updates pretty much for life, or for three versions. So for 20 or 30 years, you're going to be getting free updates. So what you buy today is still going to be current in 20 or 30 years' time when your hardware dies. Here, VMS, really, really easy to use. That's the biggest plus and the whole reason why we love them. Last week I spent 4 hours, because our company gives, we retrieve video footage for the police for free. I spent 4 hours looking for some video surveillance to take to the police, and we still didn't find it. With a VMS, we would have found it in 2 or 3 minutes on our phone, had it to the police, within an hour. So it's a big plus, being able to search and easily find things. And I'll just give you an example. I might be looking at a doorway. I can put my finger on my phone and draw a little square near a door, and it's just going to search for movement that's happened in that little square I just drew. So all of a sudden I'm just watching someone walk in, walking out the door. So I can find who I'm looking for really quickly. Big plus. Saves a lot of time when you're searching for incidences. It's expandable. We can expand a VMS as many cameras as you like. Start off with 4 cameras and end up with 400, no problem. You just got to keep buying more licenses. So that's a huge sort of positive, I think, for a VMS over an NVR. As I just said, we get free upgrades. There's no recurring fees on the NX Witness that we recommend. And what we will do is, once we've designed your system up and it ends up with, you've got 200 cameras or 20 or 2, We'll design the appropriate hardware to cope with that many cameras so that you don't have camera dropouts. If we give you 200 cameras, in 5 years' time, you're going to have 200 cameras working. They don't drop out, there's no issues, it just continues to work beautifully forever until camera dies, but it's almost forever. Cloud-based storage, provided you've got an internet that can cope with it. No reason why we can't set our VMSs up to give you some cloud-based storage. And probably the biggest negative is they do cost a little bit more initially. And we say initially because you've got to sort of buy all the licenses and buy the hardware separately and load it all up and get it going. The advantage though is over time, you don't have to keep buying better, smarter software. It's once you buy the license once, you got it for pretty well forever. So over time, I think it well and truly pays for itself. It's just that initial buy-in that is a little bit more to chew on. Well, I hope that's answered most of the questions. If you do have more questions, feel free to email us at service@bravesecurity.com.au, or you can always call our office 13000 theft. Anyway, have a good day, and I hope that's answered all your questions. Thank you very much.